expenses. In Hungary, birthing mothers under 30 are exempt from personal income. Well, the New York Times now is reporting that the Trump administration may be looking into incentivizing women, American women, with a baby bonus, $5,000 to every American mother after delivery. We have seen incentives like this actually work in Eastern countries before. For example, in China, some places are offering couples money to marry earlier in order to incentivize them to start their family. Russia offers mothers sizable cash payments if birthing mothers are younger than 27, with which they can use this money to buy a home, for childcare, for medical expenses. In Hungary, birthing mothers under 30 are exempt from personal income tax for the rest of their lives. So those things have, in fact, resulted in a bump in the birth rate. So is this something that the U.S. would want to do? Would it work? And do we need it? Well, Toria Brooke is a cultural commentator and is vocal about the birth rate crisis. I apologize. And she joins us today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I think this issue is more than just about relationships. Look at our economy right now. We're trying to rebuild after Biden. The inflation rate has gone down since February, so we're at 2.4% versus March's 2.8%. But ultimately, families are turning towards farm-sourced materials because farmer source materials, food, any resources they can get because the grocery stores aren't cutting it. I think we need to tackle the economic implications as a whole before just targeting families. I mean, look at the hurricane victims in North Carolina and the fire victims in Maui. We haven't even really tackled that. I think that all Americans are struggling right now, and at the end of the day, single income households are not working. Our national debt is at 36.22 trillion. It is one of the highest that we've ever had. So in order to encourage people to have more children, it's more than a $5,000 incentive. We need to focus on getting the nuclear family back together, lowering our debt, and encouraging families to even exist at all.
I think you're absolutely right. And we had the director of the Birth Gap film on our show a couple of years ago, and looking deeply at what caused the birth gap. It always followed massive recessions and economic downturns. I mean, you saw in Japan, right? They've never really recovered from it. Russia, after the fall of the Soviet Union, was devastating, right? So Russia put in these financial incentives to really help its people in that way. But I think you're right. America is hit with a double whammy. So we have what the liberals have done over the last 20, 25 years in the United States, have basically told people, don't have children. You don't need to be married. Guess what? Having kids is actually kind of a bad thing. It's hurting the environment. You can't afford it. And then they also lumped on top of it a massively devastating economy. So I think America may be in worse shape than Japan. What do you think?
I think right now, especially with relationships, social media took a huge hit on communication and the way that men and women interact. And there's just been this whole feminist wave that really encouraged women to think that men weren't useful to them and they weren't helpful. And at the end of the day, we both need each other. That's how we coexist. So men are providers and protectors, and women are supposed to be, caretakers at home. And some choose to have careers. But I think that women would be more encouraged to seek relations with men if it was more suggested as a society, yes, this is something that you guys should be striving towards. And God created man and woman to be together, and that truly needs to be resolved, including in the church, which has been really money hungry, which is interesting because really there should be more giving back considering the economic state that we're in.
But this is an anti-feminist message. Telling women, another thing the Times reports is that the Trump administration wants to, quote, educate women on their menstrual cycles, to which I'm sure AOC...
Second Ezra 9 and 6. Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. Shalom Israel. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Quadash, for allowing me to do another lesson. Yahweh is who the world really calls God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and there's no God beside him. Salutations, double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for being faithful witnesses to the Holy Spirit. Salutations to the elect of Israel. And this is yet another sign that we're in the end. Right? I let it play because, that show Redacted, they speak a lot of truth. This is the book of Revelation 6 and 4. And there went out another horse that was red. Who is that red horse? Let's jump to Genesis 36. In verse the 36? No, I'm sorry. 25. And 25. Genesis 25 and 25. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So Esau, Edom, right, which by the way, under this particular man, we are now entering into a third world's war. All right. Well, as the scriptures say, we're reading it. This red man, this red horse, this red power, had power, or power was given to him that set thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And amongst many of what he does, he has a great military, right? He has perfected the medical portion, and he has, most importantly, affected the minds of the people to destroy themselves as they was going into. Right? And I'm gonna go another 10 minutes and I'm gonna end it out. Salakia. But gotta do what I gotta do. Nevertheless, alright, I know it's gonna do that. You read the comment board.
Hey everybody, it's Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. I have a question.
You could just read the comment board. People were saying what it was, from the CV situation, all right, to even the destruction of the foods and the water that we must eat to survive. And then most importantly, another important factor is that people just can't afford it. A point that was mentioned is that this is a sign of bad times. As you see, well, let me grab this real quick. During the Great Depression, right? The Great Depression was around the time of World War II. And the United States experienced a notable decline, reaching an all-time low of 18.4 live births per thousand population. This drop in birth rates were linked to the economic hardship and widespread joblessness that characterized the era. Okay? So everything is failing right now. It says, in the United States, birth rates begin to decline noticeably after 2007 with a sharp drop coinciding with the Great Recession. Now, as was mentioned, this devil DJ Trump is pretty much talking about, well, he's sending, going to send $5,000 to incentivize for new mothers, that just have children. But things are so very expensive, again, under the watch of this man, that don't mean anything. That's really just another mouth to feed, and another bill, essentially. And I was just looking up scriptures. We already knew these, but it says the Bible does not explicitly mention declining birth rates as a specific sign of the last days. However, the Bible does speak about various societal changes and spiritual decline that are often associated with the end times. So as you see the scriptures, right, we always bring them out. The book of Revelation describes the end times as a period of great upheaval and judgment, which could potentially affect demographic trends. Okay, so this world is being affected, and as people are seeing, the ones that are watching, because you're also going to have, like the scriptures say, people still marrying and giving into marriage, which marriage pretty much going into sex and revelry, but you have certain people that are actually watching and seeing, who's at fault, seeing what's really going on. All right. Hey, the scriptures say that in the end times, the liberal should no more be called liberal. What's Isaiah 32? All right. And, I'm going to head out. But yeah, more and more signs of the times. The endings are in effects and signs. So, hey, me, how about Shimi? I was shy. Put in my spirit to do something a little later. Just want to get something in before the day started. But without further ado, shalom to the elect.